What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dre, back with a new episode of Dre's State of Mind. It's been a minute since my last episode. So, without further ado, without wasting any more time, I just want to get into what I want to talk about in this episode. So, let's go. All right, so first off, I guess get into a topic that people have been talking about for, I guess, like maybe the past week or so. Which is DaBaby and his dumbass rant at Rolling Loud. All right, so actually it was July 25th. At Rolling Loud Music Festival in Miami, which was pretty much like a super spreader as well. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some COVID cases coming from that, but let's get back to the point. All right, so pretty much like his dumbass had a homophobic rant and factually inaccurate comments about people living with HIV and AIDS. Pretty much, this man is 29 years old. He'll be 30 in December. So it's like you're way too old to be saying some stupid shit off the rip, like off the cuff, like off the whim. That, like, from the clip that I seen, that went viral online, I'm just like, bro, like, this shit, like, it looked like it was totally like it wasn't provoked. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Unprovoked. it was totally unprovoked. Like, you just said that, like, on a whim, like, in the middle of a concert. So I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck? So, some people was like, oh, like, he said words on his music, or this is about, like, on cue for him and all this and that. I'm just like, bro, like, you said this shit at a big festival, at a big concert, and, like, you just fucked up your money. So I had someone who was like, yeah, wasn't really too familiar with what was going on, but I hate to see a black man, lose money because of such and such. I'm like, yo, but he did it to himself. So I can't feel sorry for you. Like, I don't give a fuck if you black or not. Like, I like to see a black man succeed and everything like that. But when you bring shit upon yourself, I have no remorse, I don't feel sorry for you at all. And, like, yeah, like, you brought this shit on yourself, dog. Like, right now, like, we're living in the height of cancel culture. That's one. And two, the LGBTQA plus community. Just want to make sure I got all the acronyms in there. They swarm on people. So it's like, you say anything bad about that community, which I don't understand, I can kind of see, like, why people get kind of annoyed with them, but at the end of the day, they're a force to be reckoned with, and they're making sure that they get all their issues and everything, and all the inclusivity and all that. Like, they're making sure they're getting all that shit done. So I respect them for that. And yeah, like, if you saying some stupid ass shit, like, but what was the direct quote that this stupid ass nigga said? It was like really, really fucking, like, it was I gotta find a quote, but pretty much, like, this man is losing, mad appearances and business partners, that were sponsoring him and everything like that. Like, he had deals with radio stations, like, they're all dropping him from their schedules, like, they're dropping him from performances and everything like that. So he pretty much fucked the bag up for, like, a dumbass statement that he said on stage, like, that was unprovoked. Like, you just could have just fucking, like, just went on with the show. Alright, so yeah, here it is. During his set at the Florida-based event, DaBaby seemingly praised male attendees for not sucking dick after saying, if you didn't show up today with HIV/AIDS on any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks. Then put a cell phone lighter in there. Put a cell phone lighter up. I'm like, bro, like what provoked you to say this shit? Like, I don't understand this shit at all. Like, I don't. How did you think that shit was gonna be? Like, yeah, motherfuckers were like, yeah, like, bro, like, and then on top of that, you saying like misinformed shit about HIV and AIDS. Like, this shit is definitely not gonna kill you in 2 or 3 weeks. Like, if you die 2 or 3 weeks, you know, after being diagnosed with like AIDS or something like that, chances are you had it for a very long time. And it's 2021. You know, Google's your friend. Like, you pretty much Google damn near anything. But in this day and age of people like that have information that, you know what I'm saying, like at your fingertips, people choose to still be ignorant and still choose to be uneducated about certain things. If I don't know, you know, something like about a subject that I want to go about, or if I don't know something, then I just go hit Google up, and then I'm going to go, you know, do my research. I'm going to go check the internet, and on top of that, I'm gonna vet the websites that I'm looking at, because not all websites are your friend. Like, not all websites are factual. There's some very opinionated based, you know, like conspiracy theory or, you know, all that shit. So you have to be mindful of where you're getting your information from on the internet. But still, it starts with a simple step. You can just Google and do your research. Now, he offered a pseudo apology for his remarks, and you know, he basically said, you know, social media moves so fast that people want to demolish you before you even have the opportunity to grow and educate and learn from your mistakes. Like, dog, like I said, you could have been educated yourself about this whole subject, and there's nothing to educate yourself about when you said, like, you know, if you ain't suck dick in the parking lot. Like, bro, that has nothing to do with education. That's just being stupid. Long story short, he said, I want to apologize to the LGBTQ plus community for the harmful and triggering comments I made. Again, I apologize for my misinformed comments about HIV, AIDS, and I know education on this is important. Love to all. God bless. But you pretty much could have avoided this by not saying that stupid shit. Like, that's my whole entire point. Like, this kind of reminds me of when celebrities get in trouble, like on Twitter, for tweeting stupid shit that they were thinking about. I'm like, it costs you nothing to not press send. So on this topic, like, you could have just kept that shit in your brain. Like, I don't know why it popped up in your brain in the middle of a show and it came out of your mouth, but I don't feel sorry for you. Now, these are the festivals and businesses that have cut ties with DaBaby following this controversy. So Lollapalooza dropped him. KS 107.5 Summer Jam in September 4th. He was supposed to appear there. They dropped him. Park Life, which is from September 11th to 12th, they dropped him. That's over in UK. The iHeart Music Festival, September 17th to the 18th, they dropped him. Music Midtown, it's in Atlanta, from the September 18th to the 19th, they dropped him. Governor's Ball in New York City, removed him from the lineup. Austin City Limits from October 10th to the 9th, October 1st to the 10th, they dropped him from the lineup. A Day in Vegas, November 12th to the 14th, dropped him from the lineup. Now, the Boohoo Man brand ambassador deal, I have no clue. Oh, okay, it's an apparel brand. So pretty much they cut ties with him. Odyssey radio platform. Let's see, it says the country's second largest radio chain told Billboard on Wednesday that it removed Dua Lipa's Levitating remix, which features the rapper from the airwaves in light of DaBaby's homophobic statements. So they pretty much took the remix off, which is, you know, taking off some of the music, some of the money that he's getting from streams. So yeah, this shit is it's affecting his money, and these celebrities gonna learn that sometimes that's the best way for them to learn. Like when you hit them in the pocket, because they'll, if you don't hit them in the pocket, if they don't lose no money, for the most part, they just gonna issue like some bullshit ass statement that was written by their publicist that they don't even fucking believe in, or so pretty much, yeah. I don't feel sorry for him, and like I said, you did it to yourself, bro. And next time, stop saying stupid shit. Just think before you actually say something. And that's not just for celebrities, that's just for people in general. Like whether it be social media, just in person, or, just think before you say something that could be possibly harmful or hurtful to other people. And I think the world would be a better place. But yeah, I don't feel sorry for DaBaby, and that's it. We're gonna move on to the next subject. So 3 days after the epic Verzuz beatdown, the Lox versus Dipset, where the Lox just showed their whole ass and thoroughly beat the shit out of Dipset on that Verzuz battle. That was like the most lopsided Verzuz battle I had seen, and like it's going on 2 years now, or is it a year? I think it's been like a year. Of the Verzuz shows or whatever. So pretty much, Madison Square Garden, what was the setting of this massacre, and I pretty much knew that it was gonna be a long night for Dipset when the Lox came out and they performed the first song of the night, which is "Fuck You," and I was like, you know what, these niggas ain't fucking around. And you can see that, the Lox, 20 years plus in the game, still move as a collective unit. All three of, the members, Jada, Styles, and Sheik, you can tell that they genuinely are still brothers, that they still do performances together. Dipset did not move as a collective unit at all. You can tell that they're just a group of like 4 individuals at this particular point in time. I know probably at one point they used to be tight, but somewhere along, them getting money and fame and everything like that, they all grew apart. And for whatever reason, like I don't even think they really performed together like that. Yeah, they came out with a couple albums, the past couple years or whatever, but it's just not the same. It's not the same as when they first came out, and they just came out as a unit. And the funniest shit was of the Verzuz is, I'm going throughout, the Twitter timeline and everything like that, watching the tweets while watching the Verzuz, and people was like trying to get Freaky Zeke like taken off stage because they was like, yo, what the fuck do you do? You don't do anything. Like, he's just been the hype man for like all these years. I'm like, someone could have taught that nigga how to rhyme or something, but he was just on stage, just like, dancing and jumping around and shit like that. And I think like even Kiss was like, when Jadakiss told Freaky that he was the fat nigga from Drew Hill, he was just getting free money. That shit had me dying, yo. Like the whole night, like Jada had jokes. He had like the fucking one-liners like zipping at the diplomats. Like that shit was funny as hell. Now, people was going in on Joel Santana's wardrobe, which I'm just like, he came out on stage and I'm like, bro, like, what are you wearing, bro? Like, he had a do-rag on underneath the fitted. My man had the bandana wrapped around the hat. I'm like, yo, you just dressed out of like 2003, dog. Like, this is 2021. You gotta fast forward like 18 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is kind of why I'm just like, all right, so now I can see why his career never really progressed, because he just couldn't change along with the times. Like, I know, as far as his solo career, he was caught in between, the Jay-Z, Cameron beef or whatever. Like, he didn't choose sides. Like, he just stayed neutral. I guess, like, to further his career, but it really didn't, because he got caught between a rock and a hard place for, lesser words or whatever. I forgot what I was trying to say, but yeah. So his career just like never really went anywhere. Like, Cam was like, "Yo, I'm going at Jay. You're not really riding with me." Jay is, one of the bosses at Rockefeller that the Diplomats assigned to. So, and then on top of that, he became president of Def Jam. So then Cam washed his hands with Jewels. Jewels went over to Def Jam. He was supposed to come out with his third album. The album never really came out. The only thing that really came out was like, Back to the Crib with him and Chris Brown, and nothing really happened with that album. Pretty much Jim Jones leading up to the Verzuz battle, he was the one that started talking shit, which Styles P was like, responding back. So they was going back and forth talking mad shit. But then I'm just like, how you gonna talk shit, but like you guys just came out like looking flat, like looking disjointed, like all your biggest hits, like it's one, you waited too long to play them. Like, you gotta rearrange. Like, once you see, I guess like your quote unquote opponent, the songs that they're starting off with, like, you gotta rearrange shit. Like, all right, I know we had probably like a playlist going on, but damn, like, you gotta switch shit up. And like, all right, so at the point where I guess like whatchamacallit, the Lox played, they started off like with Sheek's verse from Niggas Done Started Something off of DMX's album. And then following that, like, the Diplomats like decided to play Cam Suck It or Not. So I'm like, why the fuck would you play Suck It or Not after Niggas Done Started Something? It was like, what I'm saying, like little choices like that. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, this is like a hard street record. You gonna play a song that's meant for, like, what I'm saying, like ladies to try to get some brain. Like, I just didn't understand like I didn't understand the choices of some of the songs that they played and when they played them. So it was pretty much like a whole mess on the Diplomats' part. But pretty much like the Lox, they stuck to their guns, and they played mixtape hits, they played bad boy joints, like they played fucking their big hits, they played their guest features, which like they could have killed Dipset just with the guest features. Like when Styles and Jada did their verse from Banned from TV, like Nori's Banned from TV, and then they did the legendary pose where they was rapping back to back. I was like, yo, like, come on, dog. And then when Jada busted out with the Who Shot Your freestyle, that was basically released like 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And like killed the Diplomats with that shit. What else? It was like pretty much like Jada controlled like the whole damn show. Like, he was like the definition of an MC. Like, there's like the Lox are 3 MCs and the Diplomats are like 3 rappers. There's a difference between MCing and being a wordsmith, and what I'm saying, like knowing your rhymes and everything like that. And the Diplomats, like, they didn't even really know their rhymes. Like, they was just really rhyming over like their tracks. Like Jada called him out, like he was like, you guys are basically lip singing. Like, you're selling the crowd short by like lip singing. That's what real MCs, that's how they look at it. They're like, look, we're just gonna play the instrumental. I know, all the words from my song, and even if I decide to take a word off or something like that, like the crowd knows, so I'm gonna play off of the crowd and everything like that. Like, the MC knows how to work the room, knows how to work the crowd, and the Diplomats, like they were just like up there. I guess like maybe they let their reputation precede themselves, and like they just try to be too cool for school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know some Harlem niggas, like they have they're known for being like, you know, the cool niggas, but that was not the time to be out there and try to be the cool niggas. Like, you actually had to go out there and perform, and they were outperformed, and like, you know, the Lox were just better prepared. You know, they pretty much like, you know, even when Jimmy did We Fly High, like it just didn't hit. It didn't hit like the way it was supposed to hit. Like, and that was like a big ass song from like 2007. It was so big that the Giants adopted that shit as, you know, their theme song throughout the whole entire 2007 season and won a fucking Super Bowl with it. But when they played it last night, like it just didn't hit. What else? You know, they did Mighty D Block, and Freaky Ziggy and Cam like try to, you know, get their joke off or whatever, like marching around like they was in like major pain or some shit. And it was like, well, we in the fucking army, but it was, yo, like, you know, the Lox did Dope Money. What else? Jada did For the Love, well, All for the Love. They did, you know, of course, All About the Benjamins. It was just like all the big songs that the Lox, you know, came out with, like everything hit. I don't know what made Cameron like just hold on to, like, I Really Mean It. First of all, like, he didn't even end the performance with I Really Mean It. Like, at one point, like, Cam was really trying to keep the dips on his back by like just performing like all his hit songs. And then, I mean, because honestly, Juelz, he really doesn't have a lot of hit songs, because he only really has like, you know, 2 full feature albums, and then like maybe, you know, some mixtapes or whatever like that. But other, like, past what was it, like 2006 or something like that, Juelz Santana, like, his name don't resonate. They could have probably leaned more on some Jim Jones shit, because Jim, like, he's pretty much been like the most consistent rapper out of Dipset, like, actually out of all these years. Like, he was like the third option, and then he somewhere along the line became like the first option, because Cam, like, he kind of fell off. Well, not fell off, but he fell back because he was getting money from like other business ventures and everything like that. So rapping really wasn't, you know, a major priority for him. Juelz just couldn't get right. He got arrested and went to prison for like 3 years or whatever. Then he lost his teeth, and then people know they're not letting him forget that he lost his teeth. There was even a joke that they said that Juelz Santana's new teeth didn't know his old records. I was like, yo, y'all niggas is fucking hell on the internet, dog. y'all ain't shit. But yeah, like, I mean, overall, fans of hip hop, you know, especially like New York City hip hop, like they won, because you know, they got to see 2 of like the hottest groups that ever came out of, you know, New York City go head to head. But as far as like the performers goes, like the Lox like fucking massacred Dipset hands down. Like, they showed that, you know, they're from the master class of performing, and they just gave a hell of a show. Like, they gave a hell of a show. And, you know, at the end of the day, after, you know, the Verzuz or whatever, the Lox, the Diplomats, and State Property are all going on tour. I think it's like a 10-city tour or something like that. But it's good to see like all 3 of them, you know, go on tour, and it's good to see older acts. Actually, it's kind of weird, because I grew up listening to all 3, you know, groups or whatever, all 3 acts, and now to say like older hip hop, like, it's just weird. It's just, damn, I feel old as shit right now. But yeah, like, it's good to see, like, you know, you can still be an older act and thrive in hip hop, and, you know, go out and go get money. And you know, they say hip hop is a young man's sport, but, you know, the veterans like they've been carving out a lane for themselves. It's just now more people are just seeing that, okay, yeah, like, okay, these older acts, like, they're still doing their thing. But I'm like, you know, the acts from like the 80s and stuff like that, like they still been touring. They still been getting money, like Grandmaster Flash and all them. You know, there's a whole bunch of acts like EPMD. Big Daddy Kane is still out here touring, like getting money and everything like that. So, you know, stop putting an age limit on hip hop, and everybody can go out there and go get some money. Like, you know, you got your older generation, they got their fans already built in, and then, you know, we can still build on top of hip hop with the younger acts. But, you know, the younger acts is just, they got to get back to originality, and they just got to put out good quality music, in my opinion. But that's another whole debate. So I'm just looking forward to seeing who the next Verzuz battle will be. I don't think they've announced that yet, but they said there's supposed to be like a Verzuz like every month going on from now on. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was a recap of the Verzuz that happened on Tuesday. The Diplomats versus the Lox, and the Lox beat that ass. Like Ivan Drago beat the shit out of Apollo Creed. It was that bad. Yeah. Yesterday was the second straight week that Kanye West fans were expecting, you know, him to drop the Donda album, which was named after his mother. And for the second straight week, he's got his fans looking, yo, with their hands in their pocket, like, yo, what the fuck, son? So pretty much Kanye had a second listening event, and it looks like, you know, the playlist of Donda, you know, it doubled. So I think like originally it was supposed to be like 12 songs or something like that, but like now I'm seeing it's supposed to be like 24 songs. And he's still living, I guess, in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, because he's allegedly supposed to be staying in there, you know, renting a room out until the Donda album comes out. Now, I guess like last week, it pretty much was confirmed that he actually got a verse from, you know, Jay-Z. So I guess like, you know, him and Jay are working on repairing their strained relationship, which is cool. So, you know, if that happens, you know, out of, you know, the delays in the album, then that's a good thing. Now, Kim Kardashian was at, you know, both of his listening events, and pretty much like, you know, he's basically got his fans like, yo, like, where the fuck is the album at? So he's still, you know, I guess working on the album. I checked just recently before, like, I was about to record this shit, and the album still didn't pop up. I'm trying to see, like, there's like a rumor of, like, you know, people who are allegedly on the album. I think like Jadakiss, Jay-Z. I don't know anything else, because like I even tried to like Wikipedia this shit and the fucking track list is still not on there. And there's no track listing on iTunes as well. So it's just like, you know, it just says like 24. I think it's rumored that he actually has a song with The Weeknd on there, like featuring The Weeknd. Let's see. I'm really just trying to see if I can find like anything. Now I know like one of the songs that's supposed to be on the album, I forgot what it's called, but it was featured on a Beats by Dre, you know, Beats by Dre commercial. It was featuring Sha'Carri Richardson, and I don't know the name of the song, but I'm looking. So allegedly, the guests that are supposed to be on the album are Jay Electronica, Kid Cudi. Actually, Kid Cudi, I seen that he tweeted, I believe it was either last night, that he originally, you know, I guess like tweeted out that he wasn't on the album, and then Kanye reached out to him, and then they just recently did a song and then added it on the album. So yeah, so Kid Cudi like confirmed that he is actually on the album. So let's see if that actually stays, you know, for whenever they fucking release the album. So Kid Cudi, Jadakiss, Griselda is actually supposed to be on the album as well. And like the Griselda dudes, like they just been popping up on like everybody's shit. But I actually like that, you know, they never really gave up. And now the past 5 years, like I said, Griselda has been reaping the benefits of never giving up on their dreams. So I give it to them because like they just recently started popping off. Like they was like maybe like 35, 36 when they first like, you know, got the major recognition. So I mean, if you're nice, you know, just continue on trying to make your dreams come true and everything like that. But if you whack and you ain't make it by like 30, then yeah, just give it up. Because nobody want to hear no whack shit from like a nigga that's like 40 years old. But yeah, so that's pretty much it on the Kanye West Donda front right now. As of right now of recording this podcast, the album has not dropped, but I'm assuming that shit is subject to change over the weekend because on iTunes, like they have the pre-order, but it says like August 9th, which would be what is today? Today is the 6th, so August 9th would actually be Monday, which would actually be weird as hell for like an album to drop on a Monday. But you know, I guess maybe realistically he might drop the album like next Friday, the 13th. So I have no clue. Like you never know what the fuck is gonna go on with Kanye, because like my man, he's indecisive, eccentric, what else? And I don't blame the shit like on his, people be like, oh, he's bipolar, blah, 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 and all this and that. Like, bro, I know people who's bipolar and they don't act the way that Kanye acts. Like, I'm assuming that, like, you know, everybody's bipolar disorder is different, but, you know, I know people with bipolar disorder, like, they go through, like, their manic stages and, like, you know, just different mood swings, things of that nature. But I'm just like, yo, this dude is just, he's on a different level. Like, he's on, like, the weird, egotistical, oh, look at me, like, type shit. Like, that's what I get from him. Like, everything, like, all eyes gotta be on me, things of that nature. And he's just over the top with it. So, you know, he's got a, like I said, he's got a makeshift room. This is what happens when you, like, you make $1 billion or some shit like that. You just start doing weird shit. He's got a room, a makeshift room in the Mercedes-Benz, you know, stadium in Atlanta. He's got a bed, candles, and shoes in the room, like, just working on the album. So I'm like, yo, that's what rich niggas do. Okay, that's what you do when you make $1 billion. All right. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. But I'm gonna listen to the album. It's not like I'm really like, yo, I gotta listen to this album, because pretty much like his last 2 albums, actually great. Actually, anything past my Dark Twisted Beautiful Fantasy, my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I think something like that. Anything after that has just been straight garbage to me. So, you know, The Life of Pablo, Yeezus, was it Yeezy or Yay, whatever the fuck it was. Fucking Closed on Sundays, you know, my Chick-fil-A, like, whatever album that was, I was like, yo, that shit is trash, dog. Was it Jesus is King, all that shit, garbage. But yeah, so I'll listen to it, you know, when it pops up, but it's not a pressing need for me to listen to it, because at this point I'm just like, I'll listen to Yay, but it's just like I don't expect anything great from him at this particular point in time. So that's just my thoughts on it. And, you know, hopefully he drops the album soon so his fans can, you know, get some new Yeezy music. But as far as I'm concerned, it is what it is, bro. That's it. so now we're just gonna bust out with the sports report and get right into the sports. Now, since the last episode that I recorded, the Milwaukee Bucks went on to win the NBA title. So, congratulations to the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. I'm actually glad, to see him win a championship because, he was with the Sixers, to start his career. We haven't made the playoffs and everything like that with him, and him and Andre Iguodala and all that, but it was just like never really a serious contending team. And then once he was the first, I guess, domino to fall, which eventually landed into the process era, and then which led to the current Sixers team now. But I'm glad that he won the ring, by locking down pretty much Chris Paul for since from game 3 on, he just pretty much locked down Chris Paul and denied Chris Paul a ring. And I'm like, dog, that might have been your best chance at winning the ring. But, that was the 16th season. It'll be his 17th season going on now. He opted out of his contract, like Chris Paul. And, but he pretty much, he became a free agent for about 5 minutes. And then the Phoenix Suns, they agreed with a contract extension for him. So, pretty much he signed a 4-year deal. So, now free agency is up and running. So Chris Paul, he re-upped with the Phoenix Suns, for a 4-year deal worth up to $120 million. Kyle Lowry actually went from the Toronto Raptors. He signed a 3-year deal, 3-year, $90 million deal with the Miami Heat, which I'm just like, all right, the Sixers tried to trade for him, in season this past season, but talks never went anywhere. So I'm like, you actually had a shot at getting him, and you didn't bring him to Philly. First of all, the Sixers, they still got to get rid of Ben Simmons because, it was allegedly reported that Ben Simmons, he stopped talking. It's got so bad that he stopped talking to the Sixers, directly. He's not talking to them. And the only way that the Sixers can, I guess, pass the message along through him is through Rich Paul, his agent or whatever. So he's just filtering everything through the agent. That's cool. Just hurry up and get Ben Simmons the fuck out of Philly because, dog, you've been holding us back for the past 4 years anyway. Every year that we made the playoffs, you've been holding us back. You can't shoot the fucking rock. You can't make foul shots. What are you good for? So get that man up out of here. Please, with the quickness, expeditiously. Mike Conley, he re-signed with the Utah Jazz, so he's staying there. The Jazz got a nice little solid squad, but I don't know. It's just something about Utah that I can't see them winning a championship. They already had 2 cracks at it back in the 90s with Karl Malone and John Stockton, 2 of the greatest Jazz players of all time, and they still couldn't win a ring. Michael Jordan was like, nah, nigga, y'all niggas ain't winning no rings. So he stayed there. So he'll be running in the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell. I don't know. You got to get rid of Rudy Gobert. He don't do shit. All right, he's a good defensive force, but he don't really do shit on offense. You 7 foot. You should be averaging more than 10 points a game, in my opinion, if you're 7 foot. But that's just my opinion. John Collins, he got paid. He chose to stay with the Atlanta Hawks. He signed a 5-year deal, $125 million. DeMar DeRozan actually left San Antonio. It was alleged that he wanted to go to the Lakers to go back home to play in California or whatever because he's from the LA area. But I guess after the Lakers traded for Russell Westbrook, that shit was dead. So he went to Chicago for a 3-year, $85 million deal. Following him, Lonzo Ball actually left New Orleans and went to the Chicago Bulls as well for a 4-year, $85 million deal, which I don't know, the Bulls, they're building something kind of nice over in Chicago, so we got to see where that's going to go. Norman Powell actually went back to the Portland Trail Blazers for a 5-year, $90 million deal. You know, Carmelo Anthony, he left Portland after 2 years of revitalizing his career over in Portland, showing people that he's not done, and becoming a solid contributor. He's going over to the Lakers to play with his boy LeBron. So, you know, that would be like the only way, or my only reason for actually rooting for the Lakers, because, like, you know, Melo's one of my favorite players of all time. So yeah, I would like to see Melo get a ring, but, you know, a lot of people are projecting Brooklyn to come out of the East, which I'm like, hey, my Sixers are going to have a little say in that. And besides, like, we're going to see who the fuck can stay healthy, because, you know, James Harden, for the most part, like, he didn't stay healthy when he got traded over to Brooklyn, because I don't think he was really in shape. Like, he let himself get out of shape to try to, I guess, like, force Houston to trade him like a little bit faster. So they eventually traded him. Then it's like, oh shit, I'm not really in shape. So, like, because his hamstring kept fucking with him. And I'm like, dog, like, that's like an out of shape injury right there. Like, that lets you know that you're not in shape. Kyrie Irving, he hurt his ankle at the most unfortunate time in the playoffs. Like, he came down and landed on Antetokounmpo's foot. Some people said it was dirty, but it wasn't a dirty play. Like, he just went up. Antetokounmpo went to contest the shot, and his feet big as shit. So, you know, Kyrie just came down, landed on it, and it was like a severe sprain. So basically, it was just like KD versus the Bucks, because, you know, the other, like, James Harden was out there, but he wasn't 100%. And then, like, the rest of the Nets, like, they was out there struggling. Like, people were like, yeah, Joe Harris is a legitimate, like, offensive weapon. But I'm like, yo, this nigga went ice cold against the Bucks. Like, they locked that motherfucker down. So it was basically KD versus the Bucks, and KD by himself almost beat the fucking Bucks. So don't forget that. Now, speaking of Brooklyn, I guess, like, with the moves that they made last year, well, you know, this past season, Spencer Dinwiddie became expendable, but he was also hurt as well, because they already got rid of Karis LeVert. But Spencer Dinwiddie, he was there was really no space for him. So, you know, once he came back, I guess he figured he was going to be done anyway. So he left Brooklyn. He went to the Washington Wizards, which actually is not a bad pairing with Spencer Dinwiddie. You know, he can run the point, and then Bradley Beal, you know, stay at the shooting guard. Who else? They got Kyle Kuzma. If he can actually straighten himself up and dedicate himself to basketball, he could actually be pretty good. So Washington, you got to watch them. They could possibly have a nice little squad. You know, they made the playoffs this past season, so who knows? Who knows? Evan Fournier, the fucking Olympic god. He was out there busting the USA's ass, like, in the preliminary round, like, giving the U.S. men's team their only loss, but they played the French team again in the gold medal game, actually tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes, set and go around. But the Olympic god, Evan Fournier, has left the Boston bench and is reportedly agreed to a 4-year, $78 million deal with the New York Knicks. So he could actually possibly start for the Knicks. So we'll see what happens. Devontae Graham, he became this, disposable or expendable for the Charlotte Hornets after, like, the emergence of Lonzo Ball. So he went to, not Lonzo, Melo Ball. Woo, he went to, it's funny though, because, like, you know, Lonzo came in, basically took his spot in Charlotte, but then Devontae is probably going to take Lonzo's spot in New Orleans because he signed with the Pelicans. Tim Hardaway Jr. is staying in Dallas. Jared Allen is staying in Cleveland. Both of those signings are, like, not move the needle signings, but hey, Jared Allen, I gotta commend this man, because he's not, like, offensively gifted, but he is, like, energy / defensive / like, rebound type dude. And my man flipped that shit into a 5-year, $100 million deal. So I can't complain about that shit at all. Like, dog, you did what you were supposed to do and you got paid. So you wasn't gonna get paid in Brooklyn, but you got paid in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Brooklyn traded him last season to the I think it was at the beginning of the season to Cleveland, and then like he just read up in Cleveland, and they gave him $100 million. So Kelly Oubre, I believe Kelly Oubre. Hold up, let me look this motherfucker up. Kelly Oubre, I believe he just signed with somebody. Yeah, Kelly Oubre. He signed a 2-year deal with the Charlotte Hornets. So he's another one. Like, he's still young enough. He's only 25. He's been in the league since 2015. Like, his career hasn't really taken off like it was supposed to. But he's another one. He's still young enough that he can actually turn his career around. You know, if he could just be more consistent and dedicate himself to basketball. So if you go to Washington, you know, just play basketball in DC. Don't get into any other bullshit. And he should be. I mean, he could turn his career around because he went to Golden State. He really, I mean, he didn't do shit. But you know, his career to me is like kind of disappointing. So Derrick Rose stayed with the New York Knicks. Let's see, Kemba Walker. He was actually traded to OKC from Boston, but then Boston bought him out, and then he signed with the Knicks for a 1-year, $8 million deal. So we'll see how that turns out. So, you know, pretty much the Knicks have two solid veteran point guards. You know, Kemba Walker's 31, Derrick Rose is 32, so they should be all right. My Sixers re-signed Danny Green, who hopefully he can shoot better and not get hurt in the playoffs. His shooting was definitely missed against the Hawks. And then I guess like to replace Dwight Howard going back to LA, well, to the Lakers, you know, the Sixers brought in Andre Drummond. So, I mean, he's still young. He's 27. He could be a good, solid backup to Joel Embiid. Someone to go out there, play defense, get rebounds and shit like that. And, you know, give us a little bit of offensive punch off of the bench, too. Just trying to see any other notable free agents. Blake Griffin is staying in Brooklyn. Victor Oladipo is staying with the Heat. Bobby Portis is staying. The legendary finals god, Bobby Portis, is staying in Milwaukee. It's funny how, like, he punched his way out of Chicago. Like, literally broke his teammate's jaw. And then did, like a year, I think, in with the Knicks. And then went over to Milwaukee. And he became, like, a fan favorite. He's the energy dude off the bench. So, we'll see what happens. Now the Lakers are just signing, like, every fucking veteran that they could find. I guess to go with, you know, Russell Westbrook, LeBron, AD. You know, they brought back Dwight Howard for like a third stint with the Lakers. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see if the Lakers are too old. You know, like I said, they brought in Carmelo. They brought back Wayne Ellington. So we'll see if the Lakers are, if it's too little, too late. If they too old. Because, you know, you got some young guns coming out of the West. So we'll see what happens. All this shit depends on if you know, teams can actually stay healthy. That's it. So if the Lakers can stay healthy, they got a great shot at going back to the finals. Same thing with Brooklyn, but you know, I'm still rooting for my Sixers to come out the East. And then speaking of Sixers, they signed Georges Niang, who he's a nice little solid player off the bench or whatever. So they signed him for like a 2-year, $6.7 million contract. So he's a small forward. More than likely he's probably coming off the bench or whatever. So let's see what happens this upcoming season. And also, you know, football season is about to start up too. because pretty much like they just had a Hall of Fame game last night. The Steelers beat the Cowboys 16-3, I believe, in the preseason game. So none of the superstars really played extensive minutes. They probably really won't start playing until maybe week 3 or something like that. So all you really want is, on the football side, your stars make it through training camp, nobody really gets hurt, and then just gear up for the regular season. So football season's about to start, baseball season still in full swing. But yeah, it was major news going on with the NBA free agency, so I just wanted to cover that. And that's pretty much it for the sports report for right now. I just happen to be scrolling on TikTok because that's one of my favorite pastimes now. Just watching mad TikTok videos, mainly while I'm either bored in class or something, or on the toilet taking a shit. I know that's probably way too much information that y'all want to hear, but I just happened to stumble across a TikTok that kind of resonated with me, and I was like, yo, I kind of do feel that. It was a TikTok where a chick was like, people would be like, oh, you should be famous already, you should have made it, blah blah blah, and all this and that. And then she's like, well, how come you ain't sharing none of my stuff? Which I think is it resonates with me, being someone who is I guess you can call me a content creator. So I post gaming clips on TikTok, I post videos on YouTube, I got this podcast, and just putting stuff out. And it's cool for people to, when you post it, they like it and everything like that. But the shares and actually listening and watching your content and everything like that shit helps, with the algorithm of the platforms that you put it on. It helps, kind of, I guess, support us and put money in our pockets and things of that nature. So it's you say that you're supporting us and, oh, I'm proud of you and blah, 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 and all this and that. But I'm just damn, can you just take the time out of your day to, at least check out some of our stuff, or just share us with other people? Because to be completely honest with you, it'd be complete strangers that support you way more than people who actually know you, whether it be family, friends, or so-called friends. That, oh, I support you and blah 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 and all this and that, but I'm you really don't. You just make it look good on social media. You might hit the little heart button on TikTok, or you might hit the little like button on Facebook or something like that. But if you're not actually out here yo, my boy got a podcast, or yo, check my boy's YouTube channel out, or anything like that, then you're not really helping the situation. I know how hard it is for my friends who are fellow creators and things of that nature. So whenever they put out something, that's why I always share it. Or if I'm in a circle or something like that, in a different circle, people be like, yeah, I like to do this and that. And if I have someone that has the same kind of content that they like, or the same subject that they're talking about, I'd be like, yo, check my boy out, or check my homegirl out, or something like that. So it costs you nothing really to help out your people. That's all I'm really asking. So, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoy any of my TikToks, my YouTubes, or anything else I got out there, just go ahead and share it. Just please. It'll be appreciated. And that's pretty much it. Just support your fellow people. If you say you got their back, you say you got you're supporting them, just please, just help and support. We appreciate it. And I'm always helping and supporting other people as well. So just get at your boy. And I appreciate you for listening if you made it this far. And I'll see you next episode. So peace.